whether it's a leader of a nation or on any level, that we have responsibility. We're meant to kind of learn this is called karma yoga, right? That I do it without trying to extract something for myself. I do it because it's meant to be done, because it's right, because it's dharma. And I'm not trying to, everyone needs a minimal, what they need to get by. And particularly the teachers, the idea was that a teacher has to demonstrate renunciation before they can teach, right? It's like, if you live the right lifestyle, then we'll sit down and we'll hear from you. Then you can take the role of professor. Then you can take the role of priests, speaking from the pulpit. But without you're demonstrating that you've got wisdom that's manifest through your simplicity, through your contentment. Why should we be listening to you? It's that idea was there in the Vedic paradigm.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha. It is Friday, April 25th, 7:08 a.m. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I am looking more and more. This was not planned. I'm looking more and more like the Wisdom of the Sages logo.
Especially, we got a new logo that we're going to roll out sometime soon, right?
Kaustubha's been working on a logo.
Refining a new logo.
He's I want to say, Kaustubha could have been a very good graphic designer if he just decided, you know what, I'm going to dive into graphic design. This Krishna stuff was fun, but graphic design, I could somehow dovetail this. I can make an occasional devotee shirt now and then.
No, what happened was the Bhakti Center. I was kind of in the Bhakti Center from the very beginning, and then like a temple didn't have a graphic artist or anything, and I was like, here we are in New York City, we're trying to present Bhakti. I was just looking at different, museums and different cultural centers and seeing how they present their stuff, and I said, oh, we need to present our stuff with this kind of style,
right? But a lot of people can see that and just can't put it together.
Well, then I got to learn how to use
Photoshop.
So I kind of taught myself Photoshop, and I just looked around and kind of.
But you got the eye for it.
You gotta have a knack for it. You gotta have a knack.
Got the eye for it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Raghunath.
And I really started appreciating it yesterday when we started going over the new logo. And I was like, you know what? This kid's got something.
Thanks.
Got something. I believe it. I believe in you. I don't know if anyone said that to you today. Right. I believe in you.
All right.
Okay.
Then all the old merch is going to become like collector's items.
Oh, yeah.
So get it now, right? Because its value is going to skyrocket. All right, Mara, what's going on?
Mara, what's going on?
How's your voice doing? So let's check in on Mara's voice.
It's getting a little better.
It's a little better.
Yeah. It's Tell a Friend Friday, so check out our Sage community platform and share our new video promoting Wisdom of the Sages. Like it and share it on social media to help spread the word about our amazing community.
Tell a friend.
Hear that, people? Spread the community. But we all have social media. If you put all our social medias together, we have a pretty wide reach. So we made this video sort of an introduction to Wisdom of the Sages. It's on our website.
Share that.
Yeah. Share that with people. Post it today. Tag us. We'll repost it. Great way to spread the word.
Or if you just go to YouTube, that's like our opening video, like when you go to YouTube.
Okay.
Also, tomorrow's Q&A day. Our show will be at 8 a.m. And if you have a question that you'd like us to answer, supporting members can post their questions under the questions for the host tab in the community chat. Or if you're not a member, you can also email it to us. And then tune in this Sunday for Raghu's interview with Julie Piat, who's a plant-based chef, yogi, singer-songwriter, author, healer, and more.
And the people are just eager for the next Sweet baby Krishna when you do that, Raghunath.
Yeah.
Sage
We're doing
community
tonight?
platform members.
Yeah.
What time tonight? We're doing tonight at 8 o'clock. Ask and you shall receive, my friend.
There you go. On the
8
Sage
p.m.,
community
Sweet
platform.
Baby Krishna,
On the Sage Community Platform. Yeah.
platform.
Great. There we go. 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay. You got a nugget?
Yes, I do.
You don't only have a nugget.
I've got 2 nuggets.
You got a double nugget.
Double nug, call it. Very good. Okay, this is from interest. These are interesting.
2 different people.
They spoke to me today.
Got some old school here.
Douglas Adams, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Have you read that before?
No.
I haven't either.
What? I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Someone tell me something on the message board.
I don't know. I think it's, it probably involves Eastern type of thinking. And
God, yeah. Anything sort of far out and fantastic from the 70s. Someone got a Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. And like, now they become a guru. Anyway, he says, it is a well-known fact that those who most want to rule people are, ipso facto, the least suited to do it.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Mm-hmm. You think I'm like that, Mara?
No.
Which side?
Serious. No?
You want to rule?
Maybe.
Raghunath's thinking about himself now. I see you're like, am I?
I
like
do.
this? That's
Well,
good.
it's
That's right. Rather than just pointing the finger at someone else.
Yeah,
you say,
these
"Does this
freaking
apply to me?"
rulers.
All right. And then
okay.
I think Socrates said something similar like a long time before that. It's old school now.
Old school. No, Socrates.
People don't know what we're
I'm
talking
talking about old
We were doing
school.
this yesterday.
The truth is that the state in which the rulers are most reluctant to govern is always the best and the most quietly governed. And the state which they are most eager, that is the worst. The truth is that the state in which the rulers are most reluctant to govern, like, oh, I don't want to govern, I don't want to govern. I'm not qualified to do this. They run smoothly, quietly.
He also said there that the punishment for such a person who's like reluctant to govern, if they don't take up the governance, is that you end up becoming governed by people that are unqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a paradox there, but yeah, thoughts about that, Raghunath? It applies in many ways.
Why don't you talk first?
Well, it's just, I think, you and I have been part of an institution for a long time, at least, in some way part of like ISKCON. And you could see this, you see all different types of leaders, you get to see like a whole smorgasbord of people who did it well, people who did it not so well. But, there is a principle. I don't, I don't 100% buy into this. I do believe that there are people that are like natural leaders and they desire to lead, but the point is they don't desire to exploit. So that like the hunger for power often disqualifies the person to hold it,
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
And we're going to read something today where like Lord Ramachandra takes over Ayodhya.
Yeah.
And the first thing that he does is he kind of turns it all over to the Brahmanas, and they turn around, they turn it all back over to him. And it's kind of like a beautiful demonstration of detachment. It's like, okay, we'll take these roles not because we desire to squeeze something out of them for ourselves, but we'll take it because it's needed to be done, and I'm being asked to do it. So I'll take my abilities and I'll engage them in service, but I always serve without any desire to exploit. Right? That's the key. That's straight up Bhagavad Gita teach, right from practically the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, right? You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. It's okay, I serve as I'm called to serve, but I do it with knowledge, I do it with detachment.
Sure. Immediately, the story of the Pandavas, when they finally relinquished, they said, okay, listen, we don't want a war. You can take the entire empire,
Yeah.
Dhritarashtra or Duryodhan, just give us 5 villages to rule, because we are rulers. So some people are rulers.
Yeah.
They want to, or leaders, and they want to lead because that's what they do well. But yeah, it's that desire to want to control people that has to be, if you are a leader, yeah, you really have to examine that. To want to control people, to want the prestige that comes with it, or all those perks. Can you be like a sage leader? And that's what sort of Ram demonstrates. I will lead, but ultimately I trust. I want to hear feedback from the Brahmanas. Here he is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He wants feedback from the Brahmins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's not like evil to want to do your leadership. Some people will say, who would ever want that? Well, leaders want it. Some people are born to lead. That, I couldn't lead to the degree, I see someone like, I feel like myself to be a leader. At the same time, then I see my good friend Sachi Sutta, who runs Equal Vision. He's like a leader. His employees love him. He's got multiple businesses. I was like, how does he compartmentalize his brain to do so many things? Yeah, some people are just born to lead and manage things and have many different sets of people working under them. Yeah. And so if you're not that person, it seems like, you know what? I just like to look at leaves and write poetry. Right. You know what I mean?
I was once having lunch at Divya's kitchen.
Yeah.
And with
you don't even have to say Divya's kitchen. That's the only place you eat.
Huh? There's only the only place I eat.
Just say you went to your spot.
I went to my place. And I was having lunch with Genevieve Harrison and Jay Shetty.
Yeah. And
this was when Jay was just kind of like starting to take off.
Yeah.
Because we kind of knew him before he blew up like that. And then he was really started. It was when I was realizing, oh, he's really blowing up.
Yeah.
And during the course of the lunch, 1 or 2 times people came up and, oh, you changed my life, blah, blah, blah. Can I have an autograph? Can I have a photo? Like that kind of thing.
And then you handed them Wisdom of the Sages card. Maybe you'd like this. Check out our logo. You. I made it.
And then I remember Genevieve said to Jay Shetty, how are you dealing with this? Like, is it hard for you being recognized constantly? And, and he just said straight up, he said, no, I feel like I'm born to do this, so there is that element in leadership where it's like,
yeah,
people step into it and they're ready for it. But at the same time, to be a good leader, look at Ram. I mean, he's like just built to lead, but in order to do it well, the tendency to exploit, the tendency to do it for any selfish purpose. This is whether it's a leader of a nation or on any level, that we have responsibility. We're meant to kind of learn this is called karma yoga, right? That I do it without trying to extract something for myself. I do it because it's meant to be done, because it's right, because it's dharma. And I'm not trying to, everyone needs a minimal, what they need to get by. And particularly the teachers, the idea was that a teacher has to demonstrate renunciation before they can teach, right? It's like, if you live the right lifestyle, then we'll sit down and we'll hear from you. Then you can take the role of professor. Then you can take the role of priests, speaking from the pulpit. But without you're demonstrating that you've got wisdom that's manifest through your simplicity, through your contentment, why should we be listening to you? It's that idea was there in the Vedic paradigm,
Well,
right.
Lead on, my friend.
Shall we dive into the next chapter 11?
Yeah. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta preshu vadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. New chapter, chapter 11. Lord Ramachandra rules the world.
But in a nice way.
Champions, my friends. We'll keep on fighting. Everyone in 9th grade sang that song at the football dance.
Here
or the
you go again,
homecoming dance.
Raghunath. Back
That's
into reminiscing, trivial.
You don't reminisce, man? Come on, what's the matter with you? I don't live
Walking
in
through the
reminiscing.
park and reminiscing.
See? There you go. It's all stored in there, man. You gotta go back, decipher the extract what's good, bring that with you. Let go what's bad, what goes what hurt. Let go of that.
That's what I'm trying to do. Let go. You keep bringing it up. Let go of it.
I bring
Let
it up
go of it by constantly.
I bring it up in a very positive way.
Yeah,
Good memories.
Okay.
Good memories mixed with some pain, which brought me to Bhakti. It's beautiful. Alrighty.
Text 1.
Text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, thereafter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, accepted an acharya and performed sacrifices, or yagyas, with opulent paraphernalia.
Who was the acharya?
I don't know.
Vaishishta?
Vaishishta, that's my guess. Let's continue on. Thus he himself worshipped himself, for he is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. What?
Yeah, that's what in the commentaries the idea is that by saying he worshipped himself, it means that by performing the sacrifices that we find in the Vedic literature are in a sense not different from Krishna, not different from God, and so by performing those, he was kind of engaging in a sense worshiping himself, or you could say by worshiping the devas, ultimately it's a worship that goes to the Supreme. So in this sense, we could understand that it's not like he put a deity of himself there and started offering puja to it or something.
Right. It's as if he's worshiping himself. Lord Ramachandra gave the entire east to the Hota priest, the entire south to the Brahma priest, the west to the Advaryu priest, and the north to Ugata priest, the reciter of the Samaveda. In this way, he donated his kingdom. The idea was, this isn't mine.
Yeah.
What a great sort of samskara or impression to keep in your consciousness when you're about to take over a massive empire.
Exactly. What's
It's like moving into a house. It's like moving into a house. And that's why when you move into a house, it's nice to invite devotees to come over, chant and sing with this concept of, this is not my house. This is the Lord's house. This is the temple. Even in India today, you see, it's so interesting. These rituals carry on. When a person gets a new car, they do a puja to the car, not because cars are worshipable, but you see them in connection with divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's the idea behind it. Like, I'm going to use this. Hopefully I'm going to use this to serve instead of checking me out, check out my new wheels. Thereafter.
Yeah, this text will tie it up still some more.
Thereafter, thinking that because the Brahmanas have no material desires, they should possess the entire world, Lord Ramachandra delivered the land between the east, west, north, and south to the acharya. Okay.
So here's the idea, right? Who should rule? Ultimately, we need someone who's not controlled by desires that will compromise their ability to serve, right? If you're put in a position where you're meant to care for people, that's how these roles are seen, right? It's almost like, we have leaders that take over nowadays that like have zero background in like service, like in like civil service, and like, what? It became apparent to me at a certain point in my life that I wanted to give my life to serving other people. Like you need someone that has that kind of mentality, to be in a ruling position. And so Ram is like, he was just given everything. Okay, you're the, this is like a, a monarchy where like the ruler has all the power. And but right off the bat, he's demonstrating, I got no power trip, right? And I'm looking at these acharyas, these brahmanas, they live simple. They've got, their happiness is something that they get from inside, right? They've let go of the things of this world. They've gone deep within themselves and they found contentment based on knowing their own true nature. And they just serve and they share their wisdom. They can't be bought out. He's saying, you should be the actual owner, not me. You're the ones that are demonstrating that you won't exploit. You have no need to exploit because you're already content. And now they're going to just turn around and do the same thing.
After thus giving everything in charity to the brahmanas, Lord Ramachandra retained only his personal garments and ornaments. And similarly, the queen, Mother Sita, was left only with her nose ring and nothing else.
What was with the nose ring?
Just that.
Give up the nose ring.
Give up everything. No, I'm keeping the nose ring. Don't question me.
Maybe
Mother
it has
Sita.
Sentimental value.
No, good point. All the brahmanas who were engaged in various activities of the sacrifice were very pleased with Lord Ramachandra, who was greatly affectionate and favorable to the brahmanas. Thus, with melted hearts, they returned all the property received from him and spoke as follows.
Now, even just before we go further, right? It's significant that they said they had melted hearts, right? This is when we come to like political intrigue and so on, you don't hear a lot of this kind of language. You hear melted heart in the language of love. In the context of romance or something like that. But here it is that there's a sweetness on both sides. Where like even within this political realm, these genuine feelings of love are being exchanged back and forth. I
mean, it's probably there amongst one particular party. Oh yeah, our guy got elected. Woo! Oh, so happy. I knew you could do it. But amongst the other party, I hate you. You know what I mean? So it's probably there.
What I mean is, this is amongst the power brokers themselves. It's like,
right
here, you take it. Oh my God, I love
That's
you.
The upside of monarchy.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, we're just imagine how this affects the citizens.
Right.
Where they're like, okay, our ruler isn't there because they're on some kind of power trip. Our ruler is doing it because they're being asked to do it. Look how detached they are from it. It means a lot.
I wonder if people are more peaceful. And actually, I guess it depends on the monarch. Are they more peaceful in a monarch because everyone is endorsing him and you're not even allowed to criticize them?
I'm sorry?
You think people's minds are more peaceful in a monarchy if you're
But they were allowed to criticize him.
They were allowed to criticize the monarch?
Yeah. They could come up and they could write in front of the monarch. They could have audience with him and say, I hold you responsible for this, And we're going to read, actually, it's later in this chapter that we read.
Sure, I'm sure people did monarchies differently.
Obviously, but I'm saying in this particular...
And this monarchy is different. God's the king. I get it. It's
well, not only God, that was the Vedic paradigm that you could speak truth to the king. That you'd have the freedom to speak.
You probably have to do it with a little bit of, humility.
Well, that should always be there. Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to hear later that Ram is sneaking around in disguise, incognito. Raghunath.
You
like disguises.
I love disguises.
Okay. So
Oh Lord, you are the master.
Can I finish my sentence?
Oh, I thought you were just continually.
Well,
joking.
why is he sneaking around? He's going out in disguise because he actually really wants to make sure he's getting the truth, how people feel about me, right? He wants to hear what the people have to say, and so he's so eager to hear the honest feedback that he goes in disguise and he's walking around. What are people saying about the ruler?
Oh my God. That reminds me of a Saturday Night Live skit. Who's the guy from Saturday Night Live? Was Darth Vader's son or something?
Reminiscent.
It has to do with this.
Okay, all right.
Duh.
Who's the guy? He does what on Saturday Night Live?
Oh, somebody knows what I'm talking about. Anyway,
I'm sure somebody does.
I just don't know celebrities' names, but he pretended he was the. Hey, what do you think about that Lord Vader? Like he was pretending like he was the boss, and he's like, Lord Vader, who does he think he is? And then finally he snaps and he starts killing everybody. He went in
He was
disguise
using
as
it
one
the
of
other
them.
way.
Yeah.
All right.
Someone put that on the message board if you know what I'm talking about. Oh
Excellent.
Lord, you are the master of the entire universe. Where am I now?
So this is the Brahmana speaking to Ram.
Oh Lord. Adam Driver. Thank you, Shonagrishi. Oh Lord, you are the master of the entire universe. What have you not given us? You have entered the core of our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance by your effulgence. This is the supreme gift. We do not need a material donation.
All right. We just heard what is the supreme gift that one can receive. Right. This is also in one sense, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, right? If you take the Bhagavad Gita, the Chatu Shloki, the 4 nutshell verses of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Yeah. All about Krishna saying, I enter their heart. If someone serves me with love, I enter their heart and I dissipate the darkness of ignorance. You know who I was talking to the other day? At Divya's?
Who?
Was Vasudev Ji, who's like for many, many years, right? He's a real Brahmana, right?
Yeah.
He's a person that lives a simple life. He's been the head pujari, the head priest at the Bhakti Center for going back, I don't know how long, maybe 15 or 20 years. He's deeply absorbed in Bhagavatam and Shastra, and always has. When you speak to him and he starts pulling stuff out, he's always really on point. And we were discussing the distinction between Advaita Vedanta and Bhakti Vedanta, or Jnana and Bhakti, right?
Yeah.
Because the theory, like Shankar's theory, was that we suffer in this world because both schools accept we suffer in this world because of our ignorance. We're out of touch with our true identity, and we become confused, thinking that external things can satisfy, and so on. And Shankar's position is that ignorance, there's only one thing that counteracts ignorance, and that is knowledge or jnana. So bhakti doesn't counteract ignorance. Only jnana counteracts ignorance. But when you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you serve me with love, I personally enter into your heart and
destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance.
Dissipate all the ignorance there. Yeah. So in one sense, you could say that's in one sense he's giving knowledge. Dadami buddhi yogam tvam, he says in the previous verse, I give them the knowledge. Okay, so knowledge does it, but simply by practicing bhakti, knowledge is included in it.
You're going to get
knowledge, and it dissipates all your ignorance.
Yeah, bhakti is the what's it called? The platinum package. It's all included. It's a bundle. You get jnana and karma when you buy bhakti.
I'm going to use
bundle it.
I'm going to use that one. It's a platinum package.
People who buy karma often buy jnana.
So here the Brahmanas are saying, you're giving us the kingdom. What do we need the kingdom for? You've entered into our hearts and you've dissipated all the darkness of ignorance. You've given us the greatest joy in that way, right? What more could we want from you? You please take it back. Okay.
All righty.
Text 7.
O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead who have accepted the Brahmanas as your worshipable deity.
Wow.
Nice. Your knowledge and memory are never disturbed by anxiety. You are the chief of all famous persons within this world, and your lotus feet are worshipped by sages who are beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. O Lord Ramachandra, let us offer our respectful obeisances to you.
So interesting. So
Very
interesting. Right? Like these are your qualifications to lead. This is why we want to give it all back to you. But even that last statement there, your lotus feet are worshipped by sages who are beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. In other words, they're not doing it because you don't worship God because you're afraid of going to hell. Right? It's like they're beyond that level of interaction with the divine. Right? That's like a very remedial beginner's kind of approach. Oh, I'm afraid that I may suffer, so I worship God.
Right.
No. They're already beyond that realm. and they worship your feet because of who you are, because of their love for you, because of your love for them. All right.
Continuing on. Sukadeva Goswami continued. Once, while Lord Ramachandra was walking at
There you
night incognito,
Incognito.
hiding himself by a disguise.
What do you think he was dressed as?
I probably had some type of mustache.
Probably.
I probably had much. Maybe some type of derby, a cane, and a monocle. Good day. Dress. I don't want to think of him as Mr. Peanut dressing. But okay.
Yes, yes.
One day, once Lord Ramachandra was walking at night incognito, hiding himself by a disguise to find out the people's opinion of himself, he heard a man speaking unfavorably about his wife, Sita Devi.
Okay, now this can throw us for a loop if we're not careful here.
Throw us for a loop. Speaking to his unchaste wife, the man said, "You go to another man's house, and therefore you are unchaste and polluted. I shall not maintain you anymore. The henpecked husband like Lord Ram may accept a wife like Sita, who went to another man's house, but I am not henpecked like him, and therefore I shall not accept you again."
Henpecked. We were talking about the pecking order yesterday.
Well,
Do hens peck the rooster or something like that?
I don't know where that word is coming from, because though the hens are, it's horrible what the hens have to go through. Right, Mara?
Yeah, those roosters are
Those
cruel.
roosters they are cruel.
Yeah.
All right.
But where do they get? I would like the origin of that, Mara. Henpecked.
She's on it. So here you have an upset husband. Apparently his wife has been less than faithful, and he's making his feelings known. He's saying, you know what, the marriage is over, right? You're involved with someone else, and then he goes and throws this out, and Ram hears it. He overhears it, right? He says, yeah, Ram, look at Sita. She was living with
some other man,
with Ravana.
That's understood that Sita never touched Ravana, and Ravana never touched Sita.
Yeah, but
he was cursed if he would touch her.
But Ram is so concerned as a leader that that he can be trusted as a leader, right? That he makes this radical move. Now, externally, it was for this purpose, right? That the leader must be beyond suspicion, that the leader must be trustworthy, and so on.
There is some type
external
of
dharmic.
External dharmic purpose. Appropriate behavior, even though we don't like it. There's some type of dharma, some teachings of a king, the dharma of a king, that he can't be above suspicion. He has to be fully trustworthy. His wife should be trustworthy, and people are coming up. Generally, we say things like, generally we say things like, what people think of me is none of my business. Like, let them talk. I know who I am. But in this position, you don't want to give people an inch to try to cut you down and destroy your leadership. So this is the external reason, and it doesn't sit well with most of us.
Yeah, come on. You just worked so hard to win Sita back. We love that. We love that
you
and Sita are back together.
The whole thing was your love for this woman who's gone, to protect her, to be courageous, to fight for her, to risk your life, to risk your whole empire's life just to get your wife. You could have just said, you know what, I'll get another wife. It's not going to be worth a massive battle. But his whole love, the whole thing is a love story. And then all of a sudden, just because some guy's gossiping, doesn't even understand what happened, you're going to send Sita away? It doesn't almost make sense, even in the fashion of a story.
You know something? What that reminds me of? Years ago, I used to have I don't even think you can really find it online anymore. But I used to have
that thing, Sita's.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Well, if I can continue the sentence.
Tell me.
I had like what did they call that? A website that's like a blog. I had a blog.
Kaustubha's blog.
Yeah, I had.
I'm sure it's still up there somewhere. What was it called? I'm
not sure if it is. It was called Bhakti Collective. The bhakticollective.com. And there, when I was practicing yoga at Eddie's place, I think the woman that made this movie, she made a movie called Sita Sings the Blues,
Yes.
which is a really far out movie, like artistically, right? It was combining all these different sorts of animation
Hmm.
in different styles. It was pretty wild. Um, but it was the story of Ram banishing Sita, but then she kind of played into it like her own story of her own divorce.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, like, interesting, yes. But
Can you leave our scriptures out of your story?
well, that's the point, right? Yes, like don't don't blend your divorce, because she makes. I wrote an article. I wrote a review of the film, and in that review, I was not only reviewing the film, which I gave, I gave it its props where I felt it. Oh, Road Rage is saying that he met the author at a film festival. But
Stay focused. Let the mind wandering be me.
I'm focused,
You're the focused guy.
and I gave her props in terms of like the style of it. It was brilliant. I gotta admit,
Was it a cartoon or something?
yeah,
Like,
it was, yeah, animation, different. It was blending this style of animation with that style of animation. It was. I don't know what word I'd use to describe it, um, but it's very creative.
okay.
But she, I was reviewing it, and I was also like taking from interviews from her, where she was saying things like, well, first of all, the biggest problem with the movie is Ram just becomes like the villain, right?
Yeah,
It didn't go
you
into,
can't do that. That should
yeah,
the Hindu nationalists would not be happy about that.
that's true.
Don't take
Yeah,
that down. If that happened today, it'd be over, I think.
yeah, and but she said things like in these interviews, yeah, yeah, well, it's, when I saw the story of the Ramayana, it reminded me so much of my own marriage, and we ask ourselves, why do these things happen? Why do husbands leave their wives or something? And the answer is we just don't. Nobody knows, and nobody knows why Ram did it, and nobody. And it's like, you know what? How deeply have you engaged with this ancient tradition, right? It's like you're coming out and saying nobody knows. What I'm telling you is that there are traditions of people that are deeply invested in this,
Mm.
right? That have explanations for it, right? And so we're saying that there's an external explanation which has to do with kind of an extreme demonstration of how a leader has to be beyond suspicion, how they have to be trustworthy, how they have to entirely embody dharma.
Mm.
But there's an internal reason, and this is the real reason, and this is something that you don't know about, right? But it's something that's really important, and it's also what your lack of understanding this makes you look at the Ramayana and see it through a completely clouded lens.
Yep.
But this separation that we see, you're seeing it through the lens of your own divorce and the resentment that you feel towards your husband. But no, you need to see it through the clarity of the eyes of those who understand divine love. That they understand that this was a way that we see Krishna do it with the residents in Vrindavan. He leaves Vrindavan. We see Sri Chaitanya do it.
Yeah, why would Krishna leave Vrindavan? He said he was going to come back. He never came back.
Yeah.
Right?
So it has the deeper meaning has to do with it created an external situation wherein the internal feelings of separation, which is wherein the deepest ecstasy and the deepest love is felt, could arise. And so this was an excuse to create the separation that creates the deepest union ultimately in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so okay, we got a link for it here. We're gonna
Link for that movie. Oh, your Bhakti Collective thing.
It's up there. Sita Sings the Blues. I was both delighted and disappointed with Sita Sings the Blues. Yeah. Let me see if I can find the relevant part.
Why don't I continue while you research?
Okay, yeah.
Sukadeva Goswami said, men with a poor fund of knowledge and heinous character speak nonsensically. Fearing such rascals, Lord Ramachandra abandoned his wife, Sita Devi, although she was pregnant. Sounds even worse.
Yeah.
Thus, Sita Devi went with twins.
Yeah.
Thus, Sita Devi went to the ashram of Valmiki Muni.
I got my stuff. I got it here, Raghunath.
Okay, what do you say?
Are you interested? Are you genuinely interested?
Ah, I'm eager.
Are you sure?
I'm eager. I've subscribed to your channel.
Okay.
I still follow your blog. I'm waiting for the next post.
All right. I'm jumping forward here, but at a certain point, right now, in all fairness, there are elements in the Ramayana which can be easily interpreted as cruelty towards Sita. But then what to make of Ram's evident virtue, which she doesn't cover at all in her film? How to reconcile the apparent contradiction in his character? His manifest virtue is indeed the reason that Sita's banishment is such a problematic issue. There would be no confusion were he merely a narcissistic, selfish man. According to Paley, that was the name of the writer and director of the film, she says, the question that I asked, and the question that people still ask, is why? Why did Ram reject Sita? Why did my husband reject me? We don't know why. And we didn't know 3,000 years ago. I like that there's really no way to answer the question, that you have to accept that this is something that happens to a lot of humans. Here I have to disagree. Traditionally, to get answers to these kind of questions, one would approach someone who's devoted themselves to understanding the subtleties of India's great devotional literature. Ideally, that person would not only have gained an academic grasp of the subject, but also lived a holy life and walked the path that these books lay out. Someone who has repeatedly alternated between study, inquiry, contemplation, and back again, and who in quiet moments has allowed the literature to speak to them and clarify its message, is a process in which one very consciously tries to set aside the biases developed through his or her own experiences and open up oneself to the possibility of coming in touch with the timeless truth. The subject of Ram's banishment of Sita has been questioned, contemplated, and commented on by a variety of teachers and holy people over the course of the history of the people of India. People existentially committed to the text and whose questions are motivated by deep living concern. The answers range from the exoteric, often involving the need for a leader to sacrifice for the good of their followers and for their character to be beyond reproach, to the esoteric, usually dealing with the the depth of emotion experienced through love and separation. So that, that's the idea. It's not that nobody knows or nobody can. No, this is a big subject that,
Lord Ram is deeply loved. Sita and Ram are loved and worshipped in India.
And they have explanations for this. Apparently, we get it externally. It seems like, oh my God, this is so harsh. This is so cruel.
Sent her away. Well,
Was it really? Yeah.
Yeah. She's living with the sadhu, Valmiki, who's like an elder. And then they have these wonderful children, and the whole pastime comes full circle, and the children end up meeting Ram. Mara, quiz. What are the names of Sita's twin children?
He's got it.
Love and Kush.
Ooh, good job.
Did you say that?
Love and Kush. Love and Kush.
Kush.
Kush. I want to name my kids Love. Love and Kush. If I had twins, I would name them Love and Kush. Or Kalindi and Yamuna. One or the other.
Or Kalindi and Kush.
Yeah, Kush Kalindi. Love and Kush. What great names. It's a great comic book too. Love and Kush. Ever see that?
No, I haven't.
Love and Kush. Maybe we should read about Love and Kush tonight.
Okay, let us continue, huh?
Sweet baby Kush. Text 11. When the time came, the pregnant mother, Sita Devi, gave birth to 2 twin sons, celebrated. Oh, you just read this. No, you didn't. Later celebrated as Love and Kush.
You love dropping those A's.
Oh, yeah, it says here Lava and Kusha, but I say Love and Kush. I guess maybe because that's how I've read it in the Ramayana and in the Ramayana comic book. The ritualistic ceremonies for their birth were performed by Valmiki Muni. Omaraj Prickett, Lord Lakshman had 2 sons. This is a great trivia here. Lakshman had 2 sons named Angada and Chitraketu. And Lord Bharat had 2 sons named Taksha and Pushkala. I didn't know that.
Satrughna had 2 sons.
And Satrughna had 2 sons named Subahu and Shrutasen.
Okay, 8 sons altogether.
Yeah, well, so there's 4 brothers and they have 8 sons. When Lord Bharat went to conquer all directions, he had to kill many millions of Gandharvas, who are generally pretenders. What does that mean? Taking all their wealth, he offered it all to Lord Ramachandra. Satrugna also killed a Rakshasa named Lavana. What else did Lavana do?
No idea.
Yeah, he was also in the Ramayana somewhere. Who was the son of Madhu Rakshasa? There's a demon named Madhu, even though Krishna is also called Madhu.
Madhusudana.
Yeah. Thus he established in the great forest known as Madhuvan, the town known as Mathura. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Lavana killed
Connections being made.
Madhu. Yeah. Madhu was from Mathura. Okay.
Text
Being
15.
forsaken by her husband, Sita Devi entrusted her 2 sons to the care of Valmiki Muni. Then, meditating upon the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra, she entered into the earth, right? She was born of the earth.
She entered back in.
Entered back into the earth. After hearing the news of Mother Sita's entering the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was certainly aggrieved. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, upon remembering the exalted qualities of Mother Sita, he could not check his grief in transcendental love.
Okay, this is important. I think we should read the commentary here because now it's going to talk about how do you make sense of this, right? He banishes her, but then he's feeling this grief. Well, it's not an ordinary grief that he's feeling, right? This is all about this experience, this very transcendental type of love that both of them experience through separation. You want to read the commentary?
Yeah. Lord Ramachandra's grief at the news of Sita Devi's entering into the earth is not to be considered material. In the spiritual world, also, there are feelings of separation, but such feelings are considered spiritual bliss. Grief and separation exist even in the absolute, but such feelings of separation in the spiritual world are transcendentally blissful. Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything here, everything in the material world is there in the spiritual world, but lamentation, greed, lust, anger, it actually makes you more and more God conscious. It brings you the love of God, where all those things in the material world make us frustrated, angry, bitter, feeling lost, feeling despondent, holding grudges. Such feelings are a sign of tasya prema vasyatva svabhava, being under the influence of Ladini Shakti and being controlled by love. In the material world, such feelings of separation are only a perverted reflection.
It's funny, when we hear about this, it might be like saying, oh, the normal thing is that when there's separation, there's pain, there's no bliss in it. But then there's the spiritual idea which changes it. But it's saying actually the reality is that there's bliss in union, there's bliss in pain, there's bliss in this, there's bliss. It's all bliss, Sure. And then we have this reflected world, which is Prabhupada always uses the term perverted reflection, maybe say like a warped reflection.
Yeah.
That this world is a facsimile of that spiritual realm, which is the truth. And here where it's this weird thing goes on, right? That when there's separation, you actually really feel pain and frustration and so on. And there's no bliss within it.
What we call when the guru leaves his body or dies, we call that the disappearance day. And the disappearance day, on the disappearance day of the guru, you feel sad, you feel separation, you cry, you maybe read an offering, or share something with your friends. But in that even separation of the guru, it's that meditation, that sadness is a type of love. And trying to think how, well, then couldn't someone argue, I'm defeating myself, couldn't someone argue, well, okay, if there's a loss of a son or a daughter, that's also a type of love? How is that a perverse reflection?
Well, I think, I'll tell you something, Raghunath.
Tell me.
Abraham Lincoln, I once read a letter, and I think I have it saved somewhere. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, yeah.
I think I would have liked Abraham Lincoln personally.
What's that?
I think I would have liked Abraham Lincoln personally.
I think he would have liked you, Raghunath. I think he would.
I'm not sure he would have liked me, but I think I would have.
Okay. I'm having a little trouble pulling it up. Well, let me try one thing. Albert Einstein. I jump to L's. Maybe I got a link in right there. I would like to read it because he expressed it so well. L.
It's pretty organized on his desktop. I gotta hand it to him.
It's not the desktop. It's somewhere in my files. I can't find it right now, but it was a letter that he wrote to someone. I think it was a young person who had lost a loved one. And he said he spoke about I know how you're feeling, you know, and the pain that you're feeling. But he said, but in the course of time, the feelings that you're going to feel, they're going to kind of change, and they're going to kind of become sweet, you know, like they're going to bring up a memory of the person that you loved, and they're going to be transformed into a very sweet feeling, so that when you're remembering, right now when you remember them, you feel nothing but pain. But in the course of time, you're going to remember them, and you're going to feel this sweetness.
I pulled up the letter.
You got it. Look at Mara on top of that. You didn't pull it up. Mara pulled it up.
Okay,
Right?
Mara pulled it up. But
Your better half pulled it up.
You want to read the from where?
The memory of your dear father, instead of an agony, will yet be a sad, sweet feeling in your heart of a pure and holier sort than you have known before.
Read that again. Of a pure.
The memory of your dear father, instead of an agony, will yet be a sad, sweet feeling in your heart of a purer and holier sort than you have known before.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Abraham Lincoln.
What did you think about that, Raghunath?
It was very, very sweet. I'm still trying to find the differences. Like, how is that different? How is that a perverse version? I guess because it's not giving you love of God. It's
well, that's less perverse. You know,
Yeah,
it's not the bliss of the spiritual realm, but it reflects more accurately the spiritual feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, huh? So in any case, we heard a little bit about that separation, you know, and who is this Ram? When we hear this apparently confusing, you know, in that maybe tomorrow's Q&A, but maybe when we come back to this, in that article that I wrote, I linked to an article that I had posted, which was a transcription of part of a talk that Radhanath Swami gave on the subject of Sita's banishment.
Yeah, he tells that.
Yeah, and so maybe when we come back, we can read from that too.
That's great.
Okay.
Alrighty. You know, he was very tall, Abraham Lincoln, and he wore a top hat. Don't do it. You know what I mean?
If you're tall, you should just wear a cap.
If you're tall, don't wear a top hat.
It's like tall women wearing like spiked heels.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
All right.
Okay. You ready for some takeaways?
Yeah, well, that was a takeaway. If you're tall, don't wear a top hat.
The hunger for power is a disqualification.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Once you want it, you're not qualified
You
for
shouldn't
it.
have it.
You shouldn't have it.
Lead and serve without desire to exploit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need uncompromised, service-oriented leaders to rule.
Yeah.
Knowledge is a byproduct of bhakti.
Yeah, it comes.
Mm.
What did you said? I want to remember what you said. Oh, it's a part of the platinum package bundle.
Yeah, that's coming.
The bundle.
That's coming. Bundle.
Okay.
We suffer because we're out of touch with our true identity.
We do.
Bhakti is the platinum package bundle.
Raghunath. It
See,
comes with GAN.
Premium. People usually buy GAN.
No, GAN comes with it. That's we could make skits like that, right?
yeah. See Shastra through the lenses of divine love.
Do you remember way back, Raghunath? Now you want Krishna trivia here, right?
Yeah.
Back when we first got into it, there was some tape going around. You know, it was like a cassette tape of some devotees that did like some kind of satire. It was like a comedy thing. Do you remember that?
What was it called?
I don't remember what it was called, but the one skit that I remember, it had something to do with primordial soup.
Oh yeah.
It was like a restaurant. You come in. I'll take the primordial. What's the soup of the day today? Oh, we got a primordial soup. Primordial soup. Like, what's that? Oh, it's this theory, or it's this stuff that we're putting out now. The college kids are eating it up. You know. You remember that?
We gotta find it.
Yeah.
All right.
Might be
Grief,
hard.
grief and separation in the spiritual world are transcendentally blissful.
Oh yeah.
And
And
Mother Sita's keeping the nose ring.
that's right.
Mother Sita.
I think it had sentimental value. It was the
Yeah.
thing.
Mother Sita's keeping. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Tonight's Sweet Baby Krishna. People who watch Wisdom of the Sages generally subscribe to our bundle package where you pay price of your choice and you sign up and you become a Sage Community Platform member. That's what they usually do.
It's a donation.
It's a donation from the bottom of your
Sage
heart.
Community Platform. How does one find the Sage Community Platform?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com.
Okay.
Register there. Tonight, Sweet Baby Krishna is going to be happening. We'll see you there at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.
What is Sweet Baby Krishna?
What is Sweet Baby? I tell some Christian stories, read a little bit.
It's a get together.
So sing some, not sing some songs, but read some lyrics of songs.
All right.
Now look at
SBK.
yeah, Sweet Baby Krishna. Good to see everybody.